Here we go. So the Myteam blog has arrived. 2K dropped a courtside report today. Now there isn't a huge amount on the courtside report itself, but it does link to this Myteam playbook. And we're going to have a look at that. And we're going to try and find 5 game changers, 5 new things that we didn't know up until now and run through them. Like and subscribe if you're new. Let's get into it. So the first thing we have here is 2K Day. And last year on 2K Day, I don't know if you remember, but they basically gave away a free pink diamond from the trophy case. That was quite a big deal. And this year it seems like they've kind of followed that up really. There's an amethyst, Jason Tatum, Klay Thompson, and Chris Webber's back as well. I'm really glad to see Chris Webber back. Last Chris Webber we saw was that end game in 22. Amazing card. Glad to see Chris Webber back. And he's also the second, sort of return we've seen. We've seen Brandon Roy to one of the headlining cards as well. So we're seeing some players come back. I don't know if we're going to continue to see that as the year goes on, but let me know another player below that you want to see make their return to my team this year, because it seems like it's happening. So it looks like there's basically 2 ways to earn these cards. One is to actually earn them. It says they're collector rewards for their collection, and it lists below, which I'll show you in a second, what those collections are. I'm not entirely sure how to get all of these cards. I don't know if they're a combination of agendas and packs, but it says, there are rewards for these agenda groups and add even more 2K Day player cards to your collection through unsellable gold emeralds. It's a little bit confusing, but it does say there's also another way to get these cards. It says each headliner will not only be available as the collection rewards for their collection, but they will also be included in the 2K Day packs and boxes as special inserts. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what this means. It looks like you could potentially grind for them or just pull them out of packs, or a combination of both potentially as well. We'll find out. Let's have a quick look at the cards that go into getting these cards, the cards that you have to lock in for the collection. So you can see for each card here, it's kind of amethyst through to gold, and some fan favorites are in here. They've kind of mentioned the term fan favorites again and again and again, but there definitely are, especially when it comes to 2K, Rip Hamilton, Anton Jameson, Michael Redd, definitely some fan favorites in here. Wesley Person, obviously a standout. Let's see if that gold can do what the amethyst did last year. Chris Webber, again, fan favorites, Patrick Ewing, Jason Williams. There's definitely some fan favorites in there. Gerald Green, another Myteam legend. Roy Hibbert as well, Richard Jefferson, Michael Cooper. These are all Myteam legends, and I like the fact that they've done this. They've really run with the kind of fan favorite theme. And then the one I'm most interested in, I mean, if you've ever watched me do anything, I'm a huge fan of Larry Johnson, and there is a Ruby Larry Johnson in the lock-in for Klay. And again, a whole bunch of fan favorite cards. This is really cool. This is a really cool set. I don't know exactly. It says at the bottom here, the players in these collections are available in the player market, which means you can buy them directly, and 2K Day packs and boxes for a limited time. So it looks like the inserts themselves look like they're only available to buy, but it does say you can get some of them in agendas up here. And that's why I'm a little bit confused. The reward for these agenda groups will add even more 2K Day player cards to your collections. We have to see what this looks like. It's a little bit confusing. Not the clearest comms from them, but whatever it is, there's some really good cards here. They're all going to be accessible ultimately for free. If you grind the game, you grind enough MT, and that's what this whole game is about. Everything should be hypothetically available for free. It just depends how much time you're going to have to put in and how accessible that MT is. But either way, I like this. It's a good start, and it looks like there's going to be progressive, quite regular content when it comes to this kind of stuff moving forward. So the next thing we found out, and again talking about continuous content, this seems like a kind of 6-part event. It does say later in the schedule that actually these are going to drop a few times a week. So, and it also says limited time. So I think there's going to be a bit of a race. It's going to be a bit time kind of gate kept, I guess. This stuff, you're going to have to move through it quickly and get it done on time if you want to get it. But the reward at the end, guys, is Diamond Shaq. And I think he's going to be available like 2-3 weeks into the season. I mean, I've used a Shaq in 2K already. I've played the Mamba moments. I know how dominant this card is actually going to be. It's going to be frighteningly good. And actually, I think with all the cards that are available in Season 1, I think it's going to be easier to get an answer to a Kyrie or a Brandon Roy than it is to this Shaq. So if you really want to dominate, it's probably the card you're going to have to go get. And in keeping with the previous theme, it says here, some of the cards that will lock in, you basically got to get Lillard first, but it says some of the cards are available via agendas. Again, I guess that means some are going to be purchasable and some are going to be via agendas. And again, straight to fan favorites again, cards like Glenn Rice really stand out here. It's good stuff. Like I said, I think this stuff's going to come pretty regularly, and it could be a continuous theme for the rest of the year, that these cards come every few days. And this is the third thing we've learned, and it was what I was just talking about. You can see here, there's daily content. there is daily content for at least a week, hopefully for the rest of the year. We've been saying this a lot. We said it on the podcast. We can't have a live sort of sports game in 2023, 2024 without daily content at least 5 times a week. And it looks like we're going to get something. And you can see here, if you look at the legendary path, there's a few of them in here, which means that we're going to move quite quickly. Like I said, I think Shaq realistically is going to be available after 2 weeks. But the headline here, the third biggest thing we've learned here, is that there's going to be daily content, at least for the foreseeable future. And hopefully we can keep that up. That's a dub. Now I'll save the best for last, which is the game modes and the changes in them. Let's just touch on the fourth thing that we learned from this, which is Domination is back. Domination is the same format. We know it's 5 minutes already from previous stuff. It's not great, is it? Amethyst Pal Gasol, though, is a good reward. I mean, if you remember the Ami Pal from early last year, you know how good he was. He's going to be great again. It is probably worth the time. There's Hoff badges in there as well, multiple Hoffs, and you also get a bunch of starter cards as well that if you missed out on, you can go get them from Domination. There's a Ruby De'Aaron Fox in there as well. Is it worth it? I don't know. I don't know if it's worth the time. I actually think I'd probably rather do Mamba Moments early on than this, but if you do it, there's some value in it. Pal's going to be a great card, like early on, very, very early on. You know, if you end up getting that Shaq, Pal's basically the perfect power forward to run with him. It's okay, but we've learned about Domination. But let's get into the fifth thing and the most important thing that we've learned today about my team. And here it is, guys, a huge, huge reduction in the amount of wins required for the cards. Now, this doesn't mean, I should stress, this doesn't necessarily mean that this is the total wins for the mode. You know, let me give you an example. One of the things that it doesn't say is unlimited, but Sam, Six-Man Sam, it's already clarified, is 5,000 points. That'll get you Ruby Julius Randle. So a little bit less than last year. You know, it's just a significant reduction, 17% down, right? It's significant enough. Does it still have 23,000 points that you can go and earn other rewards? Same with like clutch time. It's 50 wins to get Wally Zerbiak, but is that the final thing? Is there another 50 wins still there to go get other things? That we don't know, but what we do know is what we need to lock in for Brandon Roy is hyper achievable compared to last year. Now, the reason I've left this till last is it is the most important thing by an absolute mile on this blog. The quality of life that comes from this is a whole new world. This is so achievable for someone who does spend, let's say, 10 hours a week on the game. Brandon Roy is realistic for you if that's the time you put in. You know, that's 1 to 1.5 hours a day. We haven't got content that's now locked. If we go back to the trophy case last year, it was literally you had to have 10, 12 hours a day. We have cut that down completely to get really good rewards. They're really quick. The actual game mode rewards are good as well. I love the fact that they're rubies. That means the pacing is going to be in a much better place as well. I think this is fantastic. I'll just run you through it really quickly. So level 40 will be similar to previous years, I imagine. You can obviously buy your way to that on day one if you want. Now that's the difference. Unlimited, it is 5,000 points, as confirmed by Six-Man Sam on Twitter. That gets you Ruby Julius Randle. Clutch time, that's clutch time offline, gets you Ruby Wally Zerbiak. That's only 50 wins. Again, you could do that in a few hours. Triple threat offline, which is the worst part of this whole game. I actually would not have missed it if it didn't come back, I'll be honest with you. But it's 100 wins. That's still a lot. That's still a lot of wins. That could have done with being 50. But considering the rest of it, I'm not going to complain. I'm not looking forward to winning 100 games on TT Offline. Even at this point, even down 150 games, I was never getting anywhere near 250. I'll probably do 100 if it gets me Brandon Roy. But I'm not excited about it. I think 50 would have been better there. Triple Threat Online 50. Triple Threat Online has meaning again. The mode is back. 50 wins is reasonable, and that's why the mode is back. If they put this at 200, 250 wins, I think people still would have left the mode alone. 50 wins is great. People will be playing that. Co-op's actually the same. It was 50 wins last year as well. And then there's the rest of the stuff, the tokens, etc. This is a huge change. This is a really positive blog. At this stage, there's not much left for me to kind of know. I feel I know pretty much everything I need to know about the mode to get excited about it. And I am very, very excited about it. I cannot wait for the game to drop. I'm not flying to New Zealand. I'm just going to play it when it's released here, but I'll be keeping an eye on what's going on, and I'll drop a video on the first day and a podcast on the weekend as well, talking about it. Thank you for your support on the podcast. One of the best kind of responses we've ever had to a podcast. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe. Peace.